All right, we are live now.
All right, good deal.
All right. Well, how's it going?
There we go. All right.
Okay. All right. How's it been going so far, Pete?
It's been a crazy day. Crazy day.
Yeah, definitely. So, so you're a relatively new company. You're running All Out Pro Wrestling, and you're just wondering how that got started and your inspiration behind that.
Well, it started basically a few years back, probably about, God, what was it? 2018 was our first show. And at that time, we were actually X-Force Power Wrestling. I was partnering up with a coworker, another wrestling fan like myself. And we had a couple shows, but circumstances kind of went a little south for the both of us, and we decided to part ways. So then after that, then I rebranded to All Out Pro Wrestling, and just basically did it on my own until last year when I had some partners come in and help out. So yeah.
Okay. Huh. Oh, so you like completely rebranded this thing from the original concept.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rebranding is always a tricky thing, like, because you had this idea, then like now you got to restart them. Like you got to think about where to go, but it looks like so far it's been successful. You had some big names and having some good shows. You're in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we've definitely had our hard knocks. Like I said, the first couple shows were not really the greatest, and we had some issues with that. And then the following year, we had a couple shows to some mediocre um, fan base, so to speak. We just didn't have the funding and the sponsorship to put our name out there yet, so much to where now, last year, we had the backing for it, and we got our name out there through commercials and TV commercials and radio and all that stuff. So that helped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Looking through the chat right now, Bullet Bronson, pro wrestling rookie, he says it's the man himself, Pete King, good dude right there.
Yeah, we've been trying to get Bullet over here for since last year. Circumstances have kind of prevented us from getting him in here, but we're definitely gonna try getting him in here sometime this year.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And
Jesse,
I do believe his buddy Tank Bryson we have actually coming in. So
yeah.
he's out of the Eugene stable over there in the Dakotas.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard of him a little bit. I've seen his some of his matches, and then I think I originally found him on TikTok. I guess I just randomly scroll.
Yeah, he's trying to get the social media thing going too himself. We actually had him at our last event back in December in Augusta for Blizzard Bash, where we had Carlito, and Tank was there in our battle royal to determine our United States champion. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's all right. Yeah. All right, Jesse, I'll let you go with the question.
All right, so you got a big show coming up this weekend. How prepared are you for this show? And you have any nerves going into it?
Well, you could never, prepare yourself for a show like this. I mean, it takes a lot to put on something this big, especially for us. Me and my new partner, we we had to sit down and kind of go over who we wanted to bring in, who was local enough to just hop in a car and drive over. And Eric Redbeard was close enough, so
Yeah.
we brought him over, and he's been nothing but helpful, and can't wait to get him here and working for us.
Yeah, I think he'll be a main draw for you guys.
Yeah.
For the viewers that don't know who Eric Redbeard is, he used to be in the Wyatt family in the WWE. Now I think he signed a contract with AEW.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
actually, I think it was just a short-term one, from what I understand. So
Okay.
I think he was just kind of more or less filling in for from this last weekend, the pay-per-view for AEW.
Yep.
So he's kind of filling in for that. Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Because I know, was it Ray Phoenix or?
Yeah, Phoenix.
Yeah. He got hurt, and I don't know if he broke his arm or dislocated his elbow, or he's on the shelf. So they had to bring in somebody, that third member, to face the House of Black. So
there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was very random that they brought him in, but then I guess I didn't hear that Ray Phoenix got hurt. So I guess any talent like Redbeard is a good idea to have. So
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. I've seen him a few times now. February, I believe. He was. I watched him live at Home Hero Wrestling Company in Fargo, North Dakota. And then also earlier this year in New Market, Minnesota, he was there for pro wrestlers Mitch Paradise.
I've had Mitch Paradise before. Awesome guy, but he actually used to be our APW champion at one time.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, so I know Mitch.
Sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a good guy, like you said. So, yeah.
Big guy too, very big.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for your wrestling shows, are your wrestlers predominantly Wisconsin talent, or do you bring in other guys besides like big name draws?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Are your wrestlers mainly Wisconsin talent, or are they outside the state?
Well, I got Take Bryson. He's over from, I think he's from North Dakota. He's over in the Dakotas and that. I have brought in numerous talents from all over. I brought in Carlito, and Hernandez from LAX. That was last year. I've even brought in Rhino last Memorial Day weekend that we had a show. But like for independent wise talent, I've had guys drive from Pennsylvania to be our show. So and they cover their own gas. All we had to do was just pay for them. So that was pretty cool. And then we had a guy come up from Atlanta, Georgia. He paid for his own flight, and we just paid him and paid for his hotel and that kind of thing. So we're always looking for talent to come up here to Wisconsin, and we're looking for new talent all the time. As long as they're willing to put in the good work and help out, we'll bring them in.
Okay. Yeah. It's good to expand territories, because I mean wrestlers are always working for work, and especially if they're new guys, they gotta expand to all different territories that they can. So
one of our talents that we have coming in this weekend is actually driving from Michigan. So Yeah, she's Shayla Hyde. She's challenging for the APW women's title.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I was searching through the All Out Wrestling Facebook page, and I believe I saw a video from her. So
Yep.
yeah, looks like she could be a good contender for the title. So yeah,
Yeah.
uh, Jesse, I'll let you go with the question.
All right, in the comment section by Bullet Brunson, he said, "Yes, I have my bag packed, ready to go, but my buddy who I was going to ride with had COVID. But yes, can't wait to finally get there." So
Yeah. There's been circumstances with Bullet that just just we couldn't he couldn't make it. I know he said he had one where his vehicle had a bent rim on his car. And then, of course, his buddy had COVID, so he couldn't really do nothing. I think we're pretty much almost, well, I wouldn't say we're past COVID, but, we're getting to that downward curve to where,
right,
so.
COVID has really been a mess for a lot of people this year. Businesses closing down.
Oh, yeah.
How tough was COVID for you while trying to put together shows?
Well, I was ready to put on a couple shows back in 2020, and of course that's when COVID was really put a stranglehold on everything.
Right.
I had a show lined up that spring, and things just domino effect. Everything was starting to start shutting down. And I was waiting and waiting. It's like, okay, maybe we can just get past this a little bit, but it just never did. So
Yeah.
we had to cancel all our events for 2020. So, but I know like at the end of 2020, probably about September, October, I was approached to do a show um, in 2021 during Memorial Day weekend, and that's when we started to kind of get ourselves out there a little more. So
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I think there was a few companies that I know of that were trying to start business in 2020, and then they pretty much collapsed. And one of those big companies we all know is AEW, and they were still able to power through. And now all these indie companies are powering through a few years later. So yeah,
yep,
I
oh
believe
definitely,
mhm. I believe my last show I went my last wrestling show before the pandemic was in January 2020 with it was a Steel Domain MAW collab show. Went to that, and then the entire year didn't go to anything. Waited till the summer of 2021. So yeah, for a fan that was going to wrestling events for a few years now, and then
right,
COVID, it was just a big mess. So yeah.
yeah. COVID was in 2020. COVID was just not a good thing. And then I know last year things started to kind of do the level out a little bit more, but we were still able to do some shows here and there. I know a lot of promotions required masks still.
Mm.
Um, and I know we didn't require masks because our show in last year at Paradise Shores in Holcomb, Wisconsin, it was an outdoor event, so that helped out a lot. We drew in
Yeah.
a couple hundred people or so for that one, so it wasn't too bad for being a Memorial Day weekend show. So that and um, it was kind of a cool, drizzly kind of day, so the wind kind of you know went over the lake and hit us a little bit. It was kind of cool. So
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, outside wrestling shows are always fun to go to because I mean, well, when it's nice weather, but yeah, when you're outside just watching a wrestling show, it feels just like a summer party, I guess, just watching wrestling. So yeah,
right, right.
Mhm. So we were talking about your women's champion, and I was just wondering who creates your company's championship titles?
Well, we have three of them, three titles, and we were contacted by a company called Champ Keen. It's out of Pakistan, and so we've been working with them, and I got our belts made up from them. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
they're like the heavyweight title belt and the U.S. title belt. Those are pretty hefty belts. So
Mhm. Yeah. Those I've been getting like so many requests from all these belt makers. I'm like, how are you guys finding me? They're so fantastic.
You're not the only one, Jeryn.
right,
Oh,
and that's like
Oh,
I'm friends with another promotion, and then all of a sudden I get a friend request from you know everybody under the sun from all over the country wanting to throw their name in the pot there to get belts and T-shirts and memorabilia of all sorts of stuff. It's like I got a guy already, so it's like sure.
yeah. Yeah. There's people that want to sell me belts too. I'm like, I don't have any money to buy a belt right now. So yeah,
Right.
it's definitely cool that they're doing that, and that like these smaller promotions have a place to buy championship belts tailored to their company. So yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Eventually, we're gonna end up getting tag team belts. We got something kind of brewing up here, possibly a tag team tournament type of deal. Well, we're kind of working on that a little bit yet, but so
Okay.
and we do have a tag team um, match this weekend against it's Night Court, Damon Knight, and Judge Jesse Judy. First,
Mm-hmm.
but,
Judge.
but
all right, that was a good one, Tito. That was a good one.
Mhm.
fans start chanting that without even any hesitation. I mean, and he'll even bring it up in the ring just to get a rise out of everybody. He's like, "You guys better not be calling me Judge Judy because I'm better than her." And it's like, and then they start chanting. Um,
Oh,
but we got those who are in Night Court, and then they're going up against the Summit. Jeryn, I think you probably know who those guys are. Derek Fury and Joseph Alexander.
mhm. Yeah, I've heard of them a little bit now. I've
Yeah.
seen them pop up in Midwest All Star Wrestling a little bit. So
Yep. Yep. Yeah, they just had a match, I think, this last weekend for their lift bridge, I think it was. I can't
yeah.
remember.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that tag team match coming up this weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking through the Facebook page and I saw these two guys behind in a court setting. I'm like, is this like how the APW does meetings or something? And then I realized it was just a tag team doing their whole spiel. So yeah.
Yeah. If you know anything from the '80s, Jesse, you might know this. Night
Yep.
Court.
A
Yep.
good old
Well,
TV show.
yep. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, when I did the flyer, I mistakenly forgot the K in there because David Knight, his last name starts with a K, Knight. So they kind of gave me a hard time about that one. Well,
Oh,
I tried.
oh, they tried. Yeah. Okay. Jesse, I'll let you go with the question.
Yeah, I noticed that you're going to have Horace the Psychopath on your show. I see the head
No.
nodding. Well, last show I went to was MAW, and Horace was supposed to be there, and he never showed up. Do you have any concerns that he at last minute might call you and
Yeah,
say, "Hey, I can't make it"?
there's speculation that he's possibly not going to be there. So I have a possible backup plan for that. So he's I know Horace was supposed to go against superstar Steve Stardom. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his work, but he's been in the business for over 25 years. Been all over the country. He's even been over in Japan. Won numerous titles and all that stuff. So he's been in the business for a while. But I don't know about having Horace. I would love to have him. He's been over here numerous times. He used to work for Jim Gagne. I don't know if you guys are familiar with who he is. He used to wrestle for Vern Gagne. Different spelling of the last name. Yep. Jim
Yep.
used to wrestle in AWA, and then he decided to come back. He's actually from Eau Claire, and he decided to start his own wrestling promotion. And I eventually got into that promotion as a video person, videographer, so to speak.
Yeah.
Back in the VHS days, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have all the fun editing and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just seems like that Horace was talking about this big comeback, and if he's skipping on shows, not too many promoters are gonna want him on their shows. He's already ruined his relationship with MAW over this.
yeah, I've talked with Dave about that too with MAW, and he pretty much said, yeah, they're not gonna reach out to him again. So
Yeah.
we'll see. So
Well, hopefully he'll show up for you.
that'd be nice, but
Yeah.
after all the stuff that I've been hearing about, I don't know. I haven't heard from him in like over 2 weeks. So
Oh, that's the type of guy he is. I mean, we had Jay Soltis on, and Jay bragged him up like, hey, he's a great guy. He's a worker that you want. But after I seen the no show, it's just like, well, if I had a company, is that the kind of guy
he
I
even
want
knows.
on my show?
Yeah, he even knows Show Paradise too. So from what I understand, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's
Right.
I don't know what other shows that he's supposed to be doing, but I know that those three right there were the ones that I knew he was on. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, things always come up, but I mean, if you don't show a company, go to a show that you're supposed to be scheduled on and don't say anything, it's kind of a waste to reach out
yeah,
again. So,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Uh, let me see. Uh, yeah. So we were talking earlier about how you had some big stars on there here, and you were talking a little bit about Carlito. Do you have any thoughts about him, and what was it like working with him for the show?
Uh, Carlito was easy to work with in that. Um, when we did our show, it was the week before Christmas, and him being from Houston, Texas, he didn't like it up here when it was cold. So he had to make sure he had to buy a winter jacket when he was down there, so he can come up here and
Mm-hmm.
and do that. But he was super easy to work for and work with, and very professional and easy to get along with and whatnot. So and he helped out a lot. We I took him out for let's see, he came in the night before and took him out to eat. You know, showed him some hospitality and whatnot. And he appreciated everything and then we did the show and he faced NWA superstar and former TNA star Marche Rocket.
Mm.
So
Okay.
Carlito didn't use the apple, but Marche took the apple and it was about ready to spit in Carlito's face, but Carlito had nothing to do with that. So unfortunately, Carlito didn't do the apple gimmick, so it was
Oh man,
kind of a letdown. But
right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe it was last year, he reappeared in WWE for the Royal Rumble, and that was a big surprise.
yep, yep,
With
yep.
doing stuff.
He was on the Rumble, and then he was on Raw the next day, and then they didn't bring him back after that.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
heard
it's
they
kind of a
might
one.
use him as a producer or something. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know. He's primarily just doing independence, So that's what he's actually, from what he told me, um, he's helping his dad run the business that he has down there in Texas too. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess his dad's got like a wine business or something. So he's helping out with that too. So
Okay. Wine biz. Huh. All right. Yeah. Jesse, I'll let you go with the question.
All right. So when you contact a wrestler like Eric Redbeard, do they want anything special brought in for them or not really?
Well, with Eric, there wasn't really much that we needed to do with him because he lives not that far away from us. So all he really is ended up asking for was gas money. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
I know last August when we had our summer meltdown show, we had Sin Bodhi wrestling Hernandez from LAX, and Sin Bodhi had me get a grocery list of items of stuff for him to use. Oh my gosh! Well, it's either with Sin Bodhi, it's either hardcore or softcore for kids. So with us being a family-friendly, promotion, he went with the kid-friendly style. So he had, instead of tacks, he had gummy bears. So that was a mess. That stuff stuck to their boots like crazy, like nothing. But and then he had a empty Windex bottle. Those Powerade. So he's and it's just some other things that he had going on with that. So, but it was fun. It was good for the kids and good for the fans. So that's what we try to do. Is we try to if we're bringing in these guys, especially for flying them in, whatever they need, we try to help them out and get all that stuff to them. So especially hotels, because but I know with Eric, he's just gonna end up driving back home. So because he doesn't live that.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, he's also getting money from the meet and greet too. So I mean, all it works out. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know with Eric, we're actually keeping the meet and greet with him. So so that's the plus. So
yeah. What makes your wrestling company stand out from other companies in the Midwest?
that's a tough one. I mean, there's so many promotions out there that do their own thing. I know in our area we have Showtime Wrestling. They have their brand of promotion and entertaining the fans in our area as well. I think with us, we step it up more. with the advertising, and we bring in more talent from outside of the state, and then bringing in some big names as well. So, um, we I know there's those promotions over there in Green Bay, down in the ACW and GLCW. They have they're bringing all those big names down there. They have the backing for it. So we're not there, not yet, anyways. So, but we're just plugging away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, GLCW is doing insane though. Like they had like 100 big time wrestlers on their show. They couldn't even like you'd have to like scour the entire poster just to see all of them. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that one that they did with um, Braun Strowman on there and EC3, and it's like I had to kind of squint and see who else was all on there. I mean, Braun was like
Yeah,
Bram right there in the middle. It's like, who else? Who cares about anybody else? It's Braun Strowman.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I forgot who else was on there, but I know Serena Deeb was on there, AEW women's
I think
wrestler.
Lady Frost was on there. I think on that
Oh
show. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that was a patch. I was looking at the images of that after. I'm like, oh my god. Yes. Yeah. That was definitely a huge show, though. So, yeah. Uh, talk about the women's roster that you have on your show and how that all works out.
Well, we haven't really had a whole lot of luck booking the women's wrestlers until we had our last show. We had our champion, Leslie Lamusia, and then we brought in Shauna Reed and Ari Alexander. Both of them they work with OVW, and I know both of them have done AEW dark matches as well. So we have Leslie as our champion, and then we brought in or got a hold of Shayla Hyde to come in and drive over here to challenge for the title. So we're hoping we can get more of a roster of women to do our shows. So and we're trying our darndest to get Serena in here. She's a hot commodity right now, and she's all over. It's hard for even us to even um, get her booked in that. So, but I know there's other wrestlers that are that are hot, like Laney Luck is one of them. So we're just plugging away. We're trying to get somewhat of a decent roster for women to come in. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel like everyone always talks about it, but I think it is important to have a women's roster because like every time, most shows that I go to, it's like 1 to 2 women's matches, and I just feel like it could be evened out more, even though it's like 6 or like 5 to 6 matches or something. So just
right.
that is a good thing to do, and then
Well,
also so.
I know they have. What's that one? There's a promotion out in Vegas that's highlighted by Tessa Blanchard.
Uh,
Wow,
is it
women of wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've actually contacted Tessa to come in and do a show. She don't wrestle on the independents. She primarily wrestles for that promotion. So if we, reach out to her and try to book her, she's just more of a mean and green in appearance, and that's about it. So, but it is what it is. So,
Yeah, yeah, that would be insane if you guys got her on the show. Big, was a big Impact Wrestling name until all that
yeah.
stuff happened. But
Yeah, if we booked her, it'd just be for her name. She's got the Blanchard gene. you know, and she made a name for herself, you know. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if I'm gonna book somebody, I want them in the ring. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Uh, Jesse, I'll let you go with the question.
All right. So I noticed on your page there, the main event for your show is Eric Redbeard versus the Bruiser, Beer
Bear
City
City Preacher.
Bruiser.
Yep.
How did you go about getting Beer City Bruiser to agree to your show?
Actually, I contacted him like back when I had my original promotion. We were looking at doing an event, and I got a hold of him. It's just it's just a matter of who you know, and um, you know, word of mouth, and if you know some, you know, everybody's friends on Facebook. It seems like, you know, so especially
Yeah.
with the wrestling community, you know,
Right.
especially in this area. So like if like you got one guy that you're friends with, well, then five more get put up there for a suggested friends list. So but I contacted him a while back, and then what was this? I think it was in January. Yeah, after our last show, I reached out to him and see if he wanted to come to our show, and he agreed. So we got him in.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Uh, what are your favorite hobbies outside pro wrestling? Hmm. Difficult.
Um. Well, I don't have too many hobbies. I used to bowl a lot, but
Oh.
well, much too much anymore. But um, I have two kids that are my hobbies right now. So
Mhm.
I know come this spring they're gonna both be in baseball and softball. So I'll be doing that, spending time out on the field with them and whatnot. So and then I work. So that
Mm.
so my kids are my hobby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, kids are change your world for I mean better and worse, but I mean overall they're kids. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Hmm. Okay. What uh what are your what are your earliest memories of wrestling or getting into wrestling?
Well, when I grew up, when I was a kid, um, my uncle used to have the old magazines, the pro illustrated wrestling magazines and that. And I used to see those all. And of course, back in those days, it was all about blood, you know. So you know, they had that all over the covers of the magazines of wrestlers with all the blood on their faces. Like, okay, cool. Well, then I really started getting into the wrestling um, mid '80s, and I'll just mention one name, mid '80s. Who's the guy back then?
Uh,
Probably Hogan.
Hulk Hogan
yeah.
was the
Hmm.
guy that got me. I mean, with the red and yellow, that drew my interest quite a bit. You know, they got the Ultimate Warrior, the Randy Macho Man Savage, Junkyard Dog, Big John Studd, Andre the Giant. I mean, I can Coco Beware. Oh, Brooklyn Brawler, Barry
Oh,
Horowitz. You
Yeah.
know, those names like that. You know, those that all drew me to watch wrestling, um, and to really get that entertainment factor. But really, I loved the most, and God
mhm.
rest their souls, Gorilla
Yeah.
Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. those were the two. They made me laugh so hard on those Monday night segments. It was
Oh yeah.
those two always got after each other. It was, I mean, obviously it was, choreographed, so to speak, on script, but I mean, they really, they brought the whole entertainment part of it, and I think that's what had, why they got so popular um, with those Monday night shows before it became Raw. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and then I, started watching ESPN when they had um, WCCW with the Von Erichs, Freebirds, and those guys. So I watched a lot of that with my stepdad at the time, and then so watching that and WWF at the time. So
Mhm.
I just was a fan from that point on.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Definitely all great legends. How we all, well, I guess how all the older guys got into wrestling. I was more into the early 2000s since I'm still young, but yeah,
Kind
definitely
of like
Hogan.
towards the end of the Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Hogan always a big name in the wrestling, and then he's done his stuff with NWO, The Rock, and all that. So yeah, yeah,
Speaking of Attitude Era, hear about that Stone Cold is coming back.
yeah.
After
Yeah, I did hear
19
that.
years.
I was
Yeah, he
like, is this
accepted
really
KO's.
just mm,
Now, I don't know if that's going to be a match or if they're just going to do a talking segment, but I'm kind of hoping it's going to
As
turn into a
as
match.
far as what I'm seeing, it looks like it's going to be a match because Stone Cold said so.
just don't?
I agree with you. I think it's going to end up being a
He's going to
match.
open up one more can of whoop ass from what
He
it
wants
calls.
one more match. That's all he wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He never retired on his own terms. His knees were shot and had the
Yeah.
match.
Well, his neck was the main
Oh, his
culprit right there. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna be insane though. I thought they were just teasing it like because they've been teasing like Stone Cold matches with multiple different people, and then Kevin Owens just I think it makes sense to have that on there. So, yeah.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And I know they have like a small brief history. I know Kevin Owens or himself and Sami Zayn met him years back in the indie days. They saw him at like a bus stop or something. And years later,
Hmm.
they Kevin was on his podcast. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. All right, Jesse, I'll let you go with the question.
All right. The worst wrestler that you've ever had on your show, who was a nightmare for you to deal with?
Oh, that would probably be. I think that was Cody Rice.
I think I remember. Name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah. Um. He had like the hamburger on his shorts, on the back of his shorts.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really. I had him at like one of my first two shows, and he just didn't. He just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but for the most part, everybody that I've brought in has worked out pretty good. We even had Angel Armani come in,
Mm.
and he did okay. He did all right. So I know the last time we actually had Eugene at our last event too, um, and he faced Sin Bodhi.
Mm.
I thought it was going to be a little more entertaining than it was, and it just Eugene just didn't. Neither one of them didn't really pull in the pop like I was hoping for from the crowd, and it was all right. But for the most, that Cody Rice was the one guy that it seemed like I was uh, had had kind of an issue with. I hope he's not watching.
I don't think so. I've never heard of him, so I don't. I'm not. I don't think he would. But I looked him up, and it says I don't. Well, it just says I just see amateur wrestling. I don't know if that's it, but yeah. Huh. Okay. Uh, in your opinion, what makes professional wrestling special?
Um, for me, it's about the fans, and we're that's one of the things that we want to do is making sure that we put on a good show for the fans, because at the end of the day, it's all about them. So, and then that's part of why we're called All Out, because we're trying to have our talent go all out to make to put on a good show for the fans.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Is that a playoff of the AEW stuff too, or just how you came on? I mean, I heard all out. I'm like, oh no.
He
Well,
better watch it. Tony Khan might come after him.
Oh no.
yeah.
Legal trouble. Tony Khan comes.
When I first put All Out there, I had several people comment about that.
Oh no.
And it's like, no, this is All Out. It's not All In. Because when they
Yeah.
did their pay per view, it was All In.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, it sounds too much like All In. It's like, no, it's All Out. It's play, So,
Yeah.
but I haven't had any issues since I started putting that out there. So,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about it, but I mean, it wouldn't be like shouldn't be like a serious issue about anything or something. So yeah. Yeah.
and trust me, I looked up All Out Pro Wrestling on Google to see if anybody else had that name too. So it's all good.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's one thing to consider too. Like, does my name actually accompany out there? So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I had X Force Power Wrestling, I did the same thing. I had to make sure that, like I know there was X Force Pro Wrestling, so I switched it up and just put Power. And so it's a different name, technically speaking. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, same thing with like well, it wasn't specifically like the name, but like the letters WWF. So yeah, and then
Yeah.
everyone knows how that happened, and we
Yeah.
got yeah, we got entertainment
Those
wrestling.
darn
So
those darn koalas, I tell you.
yeah, I still don't know how like a little zoo company just sued WWF or WWE. I'm like, how did how did they get enough money to sue a wrestling company based in the world?
It's a world organization. I'm sure they had plenty of donations,
Donations
so
coming in. We're going to sue Vince McMahon.
Yeah, please donate. We need to sue them. Oh man. hmm Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's like the only big one I know. I mean, I was this good stop motion wrestling maker by the name of NLW, and then I saw an NLW wrestling. I believe it's in Ohio. I think one name that's on there is Rory Fox, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I messaged the dude. I'm like, they're copywriting you, or you're vice versa. So yeah. Yeah, names are always tricky. So, yeah, yeah,
right.
hmm yeah. Jess, you want to go with the question?
Yep. So there's a lot of promotions out there. Have you ever considered like maybe doing a super show with all the promotions out there? I'm not going to mention one name to you that we talked about yesterday. I don't want to get you started on him.
No, you don't want to get that going. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
uh, well, I will say this: I probably won't do anything with Showtime here
Okay.
in town. Just um, there have been kind of issues and drama back and forth between both promotions. I try to let them do their thing, and they're kind of letting me do mine. But it's one of those things where it, yeah. But you know, we we're open to doing a show and combine promotions and do something that would be pretty cool. So
As long
yeah.
as what's his name isn't on it. Jeryn, you probably know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So you were, yeah. Speaking of that too, do you think you would do something with the MAW? Because you said you had a kind of a relationship with David. So.
It's been we've talked back and forth about it here and there, but nothing's really been solidified. Nothing's really um, materialized out of it. Where they're just like GLCW down there, and they're blowing up here like big time. Um, I mean, if we had a show with them, they would help us too as well, because then people from their list, their fans would say, "Hey, this is a pretty good promotion over here too." We'll make the hour and a half drive to go check them out or something. But um,
Yeah.
but right now, I mean, me and Dave have talked back and forth, and we thought about doing something at Turtle Lake, but it just never materialized.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Part part of it was my champion challenging the system, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then having the system come to my show this weekend, but my champion is not going to be there this weekend, so we just kind of phased it out, and yeah, this didn't work out. So
Yeah. Yeah, we all know how the system is. What are your thoughts on the system?
He was recently kidnapped on a
Yeah,
recent episode of ours.
from Jerry Allricker. Yeah,
All over
turn
cream
that into a
cheese.
whole angle. Yeah.
Right.
Jeryn, I'll be right back with you, gentlemen. I gotta let my dogs out.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, he was on her show.
so
Oh, yeah, you can go.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was on her show. Jerry Allricker and Rampage Santana were in the background, and pretty much the system. He turned around. He's like, "Why are you in my house?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." And then the system just cut the screen after screaming. So I'm assuming he got kidnapped that night and possibly kidnapped Rampage Santana's. Yeah.
I've had Rampage on a show last year for us.
Oh, you did.
Good kid. We've had a couple times where we've tried to get him to come in. Um, yeah, there were some issues with that part of it, so I won't go into detail on that because yeah, but yeah, he's got talent. Talent for him is up there. So he keeps working hard and keeps his nose clean and puts in the work I see him doing good things. So
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of for like I believe this is his second year now. It's kind of insane how big his name has gotten in these 2 years. I don't think his name, and I haven't heard anyone get that big since like Brandon Gore a few years ago. So
mm.
yeah, hmm yeah, definitely a
I've
good
had
talent.
I've had Dante Martin on our show. Our
Oh yeah,
first ever show that we had Dante.
hmm
It was
oh,
Angel Dorado back then, but yeah,
yeah, hmm
actually, he was our first champion at that time. So
Mm.
Oh okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know too much about him until he got the AEW, and then I heard about his Minnesota stuff. So it was cool going
yep.
back and being like, oh, he's a Minnesota guy. So probably the biggest Minnesota guy on the roster.
Well,
So
his brother was the one that was like really up there, like
mm,
to the point where I mean he was even getting more accolades than Dante.
mhm.
And then um, when they started taking together, oh, that just that caught everybody's eye. Oh,
Mhm.
especially AEW.
Uh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was known as Darius Martin was known as Airwolf, who I
Wolf.
saw
Yep.
Field of Maine
Yep.
before. So,
I,
yeah.
I've tried getting him on a couple of our shows before, but that didn't work out either. So
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
I got Dante, so that was my claim to fame.
Yeah, yeah. hmm You can say you've had a couple big stars on your show, so or before
Yeah,
they were big
a few.
stars. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. I think Darius just came back a few weeks ago. Now it tagged with Dante, so he's had that
Yeah.
injury for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Yep. I saw that.
hmm Yeah, yeah. All right, Jesse, I'll let you go with the question.
Yep, this will be the last one. Then we'll let Pete go so he can enjoy the rest of his nights with his family. First of all, Pete, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you, and we hope to have you on again. So here's my last question for you.
Make it
Um,
good.
make it
Yeah. hmm
Make it easy
how
too. Opposite.
how hard
hmm
is it
Yeah.
for you to get the audience into a certain match? Let's say you got a couple of good wrestlers and they're not really doing what they're supposed to be doing. How do you send the crowd home happy?
Well, it's not much that what I can. Well, I it's all about the matchups. So
Right.
if you, as a booker, you want to book, the talent, and then you want to make sure that they mesh together good. So you don't want like a seasoned veteran going up against a guy that only has like one match under their belt,
Right.
or
Right.
that's just coming out of the academy. You want to get like for instance, like something like that, you throw a bunch of those kids in a battle royal
Mm-hmm.
and just get the experience and throw them in there with a couple veteran guys or something like that. Um, what I try to do is I try to get guys that know each other. That's the important thing, and I'll get to that here in a sec with Eric Redbeard and Beer City Bruiser. But a lot of the talent that we bring in, they're young, but they've worked with each other before, maybe in a different promotion or so on and so forth. Um, but for Eric Redbeard and Beer City Bruiser, um, they trained together, and I found this out last week because Eric Redbeard did an interview with our local radio station here, 92.9 The X. And in the interview, Eric mentioned that um, him and Bruiser trained together under the Harley Race Academy. I'm not sure what state. Yeah.
Right.
And this is the first time these two are actually fighting each other, because they were supposed to do that at the academy, but I guess I want to say South Carolina. I'm not sure what state it is that Harley Race had his school at, but in that particular state, you have to have a license.
Right.
And and Eric Redbeard was waiting on his blood work for that, and it never came in time. And Bruiser went off and did whatever, and then finally, when Eric got his, it just never worked out. So this match between those two this weekend is the first time that those two are going to be going at each other, and they know each other. So yeah, should be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So what we got planned, I kind of run it down. So we have the women's title, Leslie Lucia against Shayla Hyde. We have the United States title with Zach Neal and Devlin Kane. And then we have the Fatal 4-Way for the number one contenders match for the belt. So that's Sanji, Robbie Rebel, Kenny Defiance, you guys know him, and then the Emperor, and I think you guys know him as well. But with that one, I have a kind of a surprise for those guys on Saturday. So, and then we have the number one contender match for the APW heavyweight title. So our champion Shane Foster will either face Killer Kaz Carter or Hot Shot Danny Duggan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. And then and that one's gonna be a good one, I think. Those two know each other as well. See, put them together, and it should put a good match. And then I have Superstar Steve Stardom versus Horace Psychopath, possibly, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. If not, then I have a surprise for Steve as well, just in case. Hope he's not watching either. Maybe.
Yeah.
He might be mad. He's already mad at APW management, so I care.
Yeah.
We'll play his games, but and I think that was it. 7 matches, I think I counted, somewhere around there. So yeah, full card, good card. I think it's going to be entertaining, and of course highlighted by Eric Redbeard, of course.
Right. Yeah.
We'll have
distraction.
Yeah, we have meet and greet at 4 with Eric Redbeard. Photo ops are $10. Autographs are $15, or you can get both of them for $20. And then the gym doors open at 5. Action starts at 6. And if anybody needs tickets, you can go to volume1tickets.org, or you can go to Huckleberry's Saloon in Chippewa on Spring Street, or Rookie's Pub on Spring Street, also in Chippewa, or we'll just have tickets at the doors too. So, but I know floor seats are starting to dwindle down a little bit. So, so yeah, get your tickets today.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So that's my plug for the event. There you go.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, and if you got time next week, we we'd like to have you back on to maybe come on and recap the show a little bit. Tell the people.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. So
Let you guys all know what happened.
Hammer out details. So, all
What's
right.
that?
Well, Pete, I'll get with you later on tonight, and we'll hammer out details. So,
Sounds good. So good.
all right. Well, you have a good night, Pete.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. Hope we see a whole bunch of you there. It's gonna be fun.
All right.
Yes. Thanks for being on, Pete. Yeah. All right. All right.
All right.